Most times, change comes with pains and obstacles, especially if it is a change about a sacred age-old tradition like a family business. Entrusted with leading the family business successfully, both Riley and Shane must go against their family rules. In the opening scene of A Slice of Chicago movie, Riley makes a speech in front of her family and staff about how it has always been her dream to run her family's business, Giuliotto Pizza. It's a dream come true for her to be appointed as the CEO on her birthday. Afterward, there's a little celebration and she tells them of her plans to evolve the ambience of the pizza joint into a more upscale gastropub. Her grandpa advises her to make sure that they keep crushing their competition, Romano's, and to show the other pizza chains that they're the real deal. Her cousin, Declan, congratulates her and asks if she could advertise pieces of jewelry at the restaurant, to which Riley declines. Her mother also lets her know that it's fine to have ideas of her own, but she should know that the Giuliotto Pizza is all about keeping the family tradition alive. Meanwhile, Shane Romano, the son of Giuliotto Pizza's competition, returns from New York with his friend, Bradley. Bradley has fallen in love with the town already, and this makes Shane joke that Bradley should run Romano's while he goes back to New York. Shane's mother welcomes him back and thanks his friend for driving him home. Shane bumps into Riley unexpectedly, making her lose the balloon she was holding. They're surprised to see each other and they start shading themselves. She tells him that she thought he was in New York. He tells her that he was and that he invested in a lot of successful restaurants, trying to make her feel jealous. Then, he asks if she's worried about Pizza Den, the new pizza chain in town. She says that she's not worried. He tells her that he has a business plan that's more suitable for the future, but she reminds him that it's just a trend, and they must continue their family tradition. They find out that they've both become the CEOs of their respective pizza restaurants. He apologizes for her balloons, but even though she tells him it's not a problem, she lets him know that he owes her another set of balloons. On her first day as CEO, Riley encounters a problem. She's got to know that the meat delivery from their supplier, Betty's Butcher Shop, has been delayed, and instead of at least coming later in the day, it was to come the next day. Not wanting things to go wrong, she tells Jeannie, a staff member, to take the meat burgers and pizza off the menu and give half prices to anyone that wants them. Jeannie lets her know that they also get their sodas from Betty's Butcher Shop. Riley decides to get enough meat to last them till the next day and puts Jeannie in charge to run things while she's gone. When Riley comes back with the meat and soda, she sees Jeannie in the kitchen instead of at the front. Jeannie explains that 2 of the staff had called in sick, so she's covering for them. Riley then tells her that she'll cook and sends Jeannie to monitor things in the front. She also asks her to call another staff member to ask if he doesn't mind working on his day off. This settles things for Riley's first day. Meanwhile, at the Romano's, Shane finds out that they only sell to customers in the evening during dinner time. He tells his mom and his uncle, Tony, that they're being lazy and should make the menu more welcoming for everyone or the business will go stale. He believes that if they don't want to lose to Giuliotto and Pizza Den, they have a lot of work to do. After the day's work, Riley puts up the closed sign at the Giuliotto Pizza Shop. She's relieved that the day is done. She thanks Declan for coming to help and she asks Riley to come on a double date with her. Riley refuses at first but later gives in. She asks Declan about the guy and Declan tells her that he's from New York City. When she asks about the friend she'll be paired with, Declan doesn't know much about him. Regardless, Riley agrees to go. Declan and Riley are at the True Greek cooking shop waiting for their dates to arrive. Shane and Bradley show up for the date. Riley turns around to see Shane behind her and it is suddenly awkward and they both try to leave. He is the last person she had expected. She jokes that she doesn't see her balloons with him. Declan informs Bradley that the Giuliottos and the Romanos have had a feud for 4 generations. Their great-grandfathers were friends who became rivals when they moved to Evanstown and opened their different pizza joints. This makes him understand the reason for the awkwardness. Bradley tells them that they need to unwind and persuades them to stay. Afterward, Riley and Shane admit that they are concerned about the new pizza chain, Pizza Den. Then, Declan suggests that they both help each other, but they don't want to hear any of it and they leave instead. The next day, Riley makes a few changes to the restaurant. She cancels the counter ordering and tells Jeannie that they should take orders by going to the customer's table. They see a rise in customers thanks to the changes she made, which makes her happy. She tells Jeannie that she invited Sharon O'Brien, a food critic, for a late lunch at the restaurant. Jeannie asks if it's a good time to invite her while the restaurant is going through changes, but Riley thinks it's the perfect time. Back at the Romanos, Shane gives his uncle a costume and tells him to hand out the new lunch menu to people outside. He is determined to up their game as well. Back in Giuliotto, Riley tells a customer that they're no longer practicing counter ordering. She tells the customer to take a seat at a table and someone will take her order. Meanwhile, Riley asks Jeannie how things are going at the food critic, Sharon's table. Unfortunately, Jeannie tells her that she dropped her pizza and also described the wine incorrectly to her. Riley looks up at Sharon and waves apologetically. This is not how she had expected the day to be like. At the Romano's Pizza, Shane is disappointed that his uncle could not share any of the lunch menu. His uncle explains that there wasn't much food traffic outside. Afterward, Riley reads Sharon's review on Giuliotto Pizza. She compares Giuliotto's pizza to Pizza Den and writes that it would be hard to beat it. She's saddened by the review. Riley sees Shane and apologizes for the other night. She asks that they exchange ideas, especially since the food and fun festival was coming up. He suspects this is about the bad review and she confirms his suspicion, then he teases her about it. She insults Romano's pizza sauce and he does the same for Giuliotto's pizza crust. They realize that they need to work together to keep their business afloat. They have mastered different aspects of the business and bringing knowledge together will bring out the best. He agrees to teach her how to run a gastropub-themed pizza joint and she tells him that she can teach him how to make his restaurant more laid-back and approachable. They shake hands to seal the agreement. Shane and Riley go to Pizza Den for research. They are welcomed by the cashier who tells them that they need a reservation because they're fully booked. She then suggests that they go to the bar or order through the takeout system. Riley asks the cashier how much revenue is generated from the takeout system, but the question comes as a surprise to her and makes the cashier awkward. Seeing the situation of things, Shane drags Riley away. They take a look at the menu and find out that their prices are cheap and they have a lot of items on the menu. They feel hopeless and leave. The difference is clear as compared to their restaurants. Outside, Shane suggests that they team up officially. They can use Giuliotto for the restaurant and Romano's for the takeout system and they will be unbeatable. Riley did not agree with him because she has always wanted to run Giuliotto her way. Suddenly, they see Uncle Tony coming out of Pizza Den and they hide. At Romano's, Shane closes the shop during lunch hours. He tells his uncle that the shop is closed till they brainstorm new lunch ideas. His uncle leaves. Riley comes out of hiding wearing a face cap and a pair of sunglasses and they start working on changing some things at the joint. Riley closes the Giuliotto pizza at night and Shane comes from the back, surprising her. He takes a bite of a pizza on the table and gives her constructive feedback. He compliments the sauce and gives her advice on how to evolve the restaurant but maintain its identity. Shane takes Riley to a garage sale to find something unique for the decoration of Giuliotto. He tells her to pick something that tells her story. She gets a Chicago sign that reminds her of when she used to go downtown with her father to a shop called Luca where Giuliotto Pizza gets its Parmesan cheese and pepper flakes. In the evening, they eat at a hot dog stand. The owner almost recognizes Shane, but Riley quickly tells her that he is a friend from college named Jack. Riley reminds Shane of his promise to not let people find out that he's Romano's when he's with her. Then they reminisce about their high school days. Shane tells her that he was on a date with a girl named Daisy in his senior year the last time he visited the stand. Daisy happens to be Riley's bully in high school. Unlike Shane, Riley confesses that she didn't date anyone in high school. The next day, Riley and Shane go downtown to visit Luca, the shop Riley told Shane about. Riley makes him promise not to use them in Romano's. They meet Giuseppe, the owner of Luca, and he gives them some Parmesan cheese and pepper flakes and tells her to continue beating Romano's and Pizza Den. Shane is shocked by his statement. He didn't know that even the outsiders are in on their family's disagreement. Next scene, they go for a stroll and reminisce again about a school trip. They talk about their dreams and Shane is impressed that she achieved her dream. Riley asks if he has a dream and he reveals that he once wanted to be an artist. He asks if she likes art, but she jokes that making pizza is a work of art, so she's been doing art her whole life. Suddenly, Shane's countenance changes. He says he feels like a tourist in his hometown. Then Riley decides to take him on a tour to remind him of the forgotten memories. Then they take a walk and see a man selling t-shirts with the inscription of pizza and Chicago, reminding them of their passion. However, Riley did not see the need to buy it since she is not a tourist. Furthermore, they both agree that Chicago pizza tastes like home even after tasting other pizzas. Walking across the field, they feel it's weird to take a day off, but it's nice to not receive several frantic calls. Suddenly, they see Bradley and Declan, who are on a date. They quickly hide behind a tree so they won't see them together. The lovebirds are wearing t-shirts with pizza and Chicago inscribed on them. Seeing the t-shirts again, Riley gets an idea. Later on at night, Riley tells him that the t-shirts reminded him of the uniforms his staff wore. She feels that the staff needs to be comfortable for them to make the customers comfortable, and wearing uniforms would hinder that. He sees reason with her and decides to take her advice. They talk about the food and fun festival happening the next day, and they are both ready for it. Their major competition, Pizza Den, also has a booth at the festival, and they are both worried even though they did not confess it. Riley tells Shane that she had fun and he tells her that he enjoyed his day with her too, even forgetting that they're rivals. They wish each other luck ahead of the festival and part ways. At the festival, Declan compliments the booth decoration done by Riley. She asks where Riley got her ideas from and Riley tells her that she decided not to lose herself in everything. But Declan notices that there's something different about Riley. She asks Riley if she took her and Bradley's advice and decided to work with Shane. Just before Declan says his name, Riley interrupts her and welcomes her parents to the booth. They must not know she is socializing with their rivals. Soon they begin to notice the difference in everything. Her grandfather comments that the decoration is different from what they always do, but she tells them that she took everything they love about Giuliotto and put it into the decoration. Her mom notices the new items on the menu. She asks if this is the upscale and gastropub-ish plan she was talking about. But Riley explains that a gastropub is about character and less trying. However, her father is satisfied that they're ahead of Pizza Den, who's hardly getting any customers. He also notices that Romano's is also getting a lot of customers. At the Romano stand, Shane and his uncle are happy to get ahead of Pizza Den. But Shane's mother states that Giuliotto is still ahead of them. They realize that there's been a big improvement in their business from when he came. His father tells him that it's different from what anybody in the family has ever done. When his mom suggests putting the white tablecloth on the table, Shane refuses. He tells her that people love their new vibe and there's an increase in customers, so they should stick with it. Bradley shows up at the Romano stand, but Shane's father is surprised to see him still in town. Shane's mother says that he must love being in the town, and he tells her that he loves everything about the town and he loves his new girlfriend. He's about to meet her family. Shane's mother is curious to know who his girlfriend is, but Shane interrupts him just before he mentions her surname. He tells them that her name is Declan Jules and she is a veterinarian who loves animals. Bradley is surprised and corrects him, saying that she's a jeweler, but Shane asks to talk to Bradley. Bradley doesn't understand why it matters that he's dating a Giuliotto, but Shane tells him that his parents don't like any of the Giuliotto. Bradley asks if he took his and Declan's advice to work together with Riley. Shane tries to shush him. Then he asks if Shane likes Riley, but Shane ignores the question and tells him to get out. Next scene, Declan introduces Bradley to her grandfather and aunt, Riley's mother. They exchange pleasantries and he tells them that his best friend also runs a pizza place. Before he could mention the Romanos, Riley quickly adds in New York. Her mom is suspicious, but she tells her that Declan told her. Meanwhile, because of the low sales at the Pizza Den stand, they decide on a means to sell at half price. This makes customers immediately line up at the Pizza Den stand. Back at the Romano stand, Uncle Tony decides to take 15 minutes off to visit the Pizza Den stand. Shane, however, discourages him. His uncle asks if they could also take 50% off their prices, but Shane declines because they'll lose money. Later in the day, Shane sits at a table in the park and Riley joins him. He wonders how they can beat the Pizza Den's prices, to which Riley tells him they can't. He commends the decoration of her booth. She thanks him and tells him that she wishes her parents liked it too. Shane tells her that his parents also gave him a pouty, disappointed look. That look was the reason he moved to New York and didn't go into anything that had to do with pizza. He doesn't want to disappoint his parents now that he is back. She advises him that shouldn't let one bad day ruin everything for him. Shane, in turn, tells Riley not to listen to her family and believe more in her ideas. He adds that she just needs to make the ideas undeniable to her family and he'll help her. She accepts on the condition that he doesn't give up on himself. Later, they talk about how fast Declan and Bradley's relationship is moving. Riley jokes that they may get engaged pretty soon. The next day at Romano's, Shane and Riley have a tasting session to know what food goes with what wine. Afterward, Shane makes the pizza dough and spreads it out. Riley spreads pizza sauce on the dough and Shane puts it in the oven. She throws a paper in the bin and suddenly sees a packaging bag from Luca. She gets angry at him and asks why he went back there, thinking he is being shady. But he shows her a wine from 1948 that Giuseppe had helped him pick out. It was the year that Romano's and Giuliotto pizza joints were launched. He had thought that it would be a great gift for when they relaunch. She apologizes to him and realizes that they're both going through a hard time with a lot of pressure. He tells her that she has to trust him for their plans to come to fruition. The pizza is ready and Riley takes a bite. She compliments the crust and tells him that the sauce could do better. Next scene, Bradley and Shane are out house hunting. But Shane's conversation is centered on Riley. Shane tells him that he can't imagine working without Riley. Bradley picks an interest and asks him if he likes her. Suddenly, Shane snaps back to reality and takes the conversation back to the house. Bradley tells Shane to be at the waterfront station by 7. Shane asks why, but he's told it's a surprise. Bradley tells him to dress nice. Meanwhile, at the Giuliotto's, Declan tells Riley that she thinks it'll be a great idea to collaborate with Romano's Pizza. Declan believes Riley that she is scared because she likes Shane, and she says that he's cute, to which Riley agrees before denying that she doesn't think of him that way. Declan tells her that she doesn't have time for her denial games and asks her to be at the waterfront station by 7. She also asks Riley to dress nicely in her favorite red dress. Riley tries to decline, but Declan rushes off. At the waterfront station, Shane and Riley meet at the door. They compliment each other's looks. She asks why Shane is at the station and he tells her that Bradley had told him to come. He guesses that Declan invited her and she confirms it. There's a sign on the door saying that the bride and groom invite Mr. Romano's and Miss Giuliotto to accompany them in celebration at the waterfront station. Riley is surprised and they both go in. They see Bradley and Declan and Shane asks if they got married. They look confused and ask why he thought they were married. He told them about the sign outside and asked what it was about. Declan happily announces to them that they're engaged and they want Riley and Shane to be their maid of honor and best man respectively. Riley asks if their grandfather's aware, but Declan says that she told him, but he said that he wants them to take things slowly and she wants to trust her heart. Meanwhile, as Declan and Bradley are dancing, Riley comments that it's odd but charming. Shane asks who she went to prom with. She tells him that she went with a group of her friends. She guesses that his prom night was glamorous, but he tells her that he didn't go because his girlfriend, Daisy, broke up with him the night before prom and he spent the night listening to slow 2000-second songs. Riley stands and offers him her hand, asking him to dance with her. He smiles and takes her hand as they dance. At the farmer's market, Shane is surprised Riley knows everyone, which she denies at first but later confirms. They take a walk around the different stands. At the Giuliottos, Riley and her grandfather review the accounts. The numbers aren't looking good, but she tells him that it'll take some time for the numbers to grow. She informs him that they have to upscale things for the business to survive. He is not comfortable with the changes she is making so far. Each generation makes only one significant change, but he believes the changes she's making are too much. She tells him that he has to trust her if he wants to get ahead of Romano's and Pizza Den. This did not change his mind and he tells her to go back to the old way. Hearing this makes Riley sad. At the Romanos, Uncle Tony leaves for the day. Shane stays behind and he's joined by Riley. He asks her why she came and she tells him that she wants to see how everything is with the changes. He offers her some pizza and wine. She notices that the pizza tastes different and he tells her that it's thanks to the tomatoes. She then asks him what would happen if they decide to combine both businesses. Shane tells her that if that happens, they'll use Giuliotto's as an upscale restaurant and Romano's for the takeout system, repeating what he had told her before. The next day at Giuliotto's, Riley tells Jeannie to come back at dinner time. She also tells her to put up the closed sign on her way out. Jeannie thanks her and takes her leave. Shane comes out of hiding and she gives him a list of steps they need to take to merge their business into one. He finds it amazing and they come up with ideas for a new name. Shane says he likes R&J and Riley suggests Peter and Gino using their great-grandfather's names. They decide to go with Peter and Gino. At the park, they review the menu. Riley tells Shane that they'll have to remove 90% of the items on Romano's menu. She also appoints him to be in charge of the wine list. They agree to use Shane's crust recipe and Riley's sauce recipe. Later at the Romanos, Riley shows up with a box that she wrote top secret. She tells Shane to put the dough ingredients in the box. He makes the dough and Riley spreads the sauce, adding the Parmesan cheese and pepper flakes she got from Luca. Shane puts the pizza in the oven. When the pizza is ready, Shane tells Riley to take the first bite. She's pleasantly surprised and tells him that it is the best pizza she has ever tasted. They hug each other, happy to have succeeded. Riley feels awkward with the way they hug and they smile while sipping their wine. At the Romanos, Uncle Tony is cleaning a table when Shane's parents show up. He tells them Shane said he had to take care of something and that he may not come in for the day. He even adds that Shane has been going out very often, coupled with the fact that they are running low on dough ingredients and he thinks it's strange. Meanwhile, at the Giuliottos, Riley's mother and grandfather ask for her. Jeannie shows them a sleeping Riley. She has fallen asleep while reading through the merge plans. Her mother wakes her up and she quickly hides the documents before her mother sees them. Later in the evening, Riley and Shane meet up to taste the food on their menu. She informs him that they'll have to close both shops for a week to finalize the changes. From his end, he has also contacted the advertising agency, and Pizza Den will never see their plan coming. Shane gives her a gift. She opens it to see a graduation hat that was sold in the garage sales. The gift is to celebrate her becoming the sole CEO of Peter and Gino. But she argued that they'll be co-CEOs, but he doesn't agree. He tells her that he'll be whatever she needs him to be. Shane reveals that he was always scared to run Romano's because he didn't want to disappoint his loved ones, and that's why he moved. He tells her that it became easy after he met her and that she made everything fun. Riley smiles at him. She tells him that she did not get him anything. Right in the middle of their conversation, Shane's parents come in. They tell him that they've been looking for him. They notice Riley and ask why they're together. Riley wants to leave, but he tells her to stay. He tries to explain to his parents their plans to merge both businesses. They do not approve of it and Riley leaves. Next scene, Riley opens Giuliotto and goes into the shop. She's received by her grandfather, mother, and Jeannie. They tell her to sit down and show her the menu they found. Her grandfather expresses his disappointment. Her mother asks her to explain. Just then, Shane walks in. He apologizes to her on behalf of his family. He tells them that he gave the menu to Riley as a proposal to merge the businesses, but she rejected it. Riley tries to stop him, but he continues. He tells them that he liked the way she ran the place and wanted her to assist him, but she strongly refused. He finishes by saying that Riley is the best person to run the Giuliotto, and he regrets having to compete with her. Then he walks out. The next day at Romano's, Shane apologizes to his uncle for going behind his back. His uncle says it's fine, but his parents take it personally. Bradley, who is sitting behind Shane, complains about wedding venues charging for electricity and water. Shane asks Bradley if he has canceled the lease in Manhattan because he wants to go back. But Bradley hasn't canceled it yet. Uncle Tony tells him not to go back. He says that he knows that they're being stubborn, but they will come around. However, Shane has given up on them and tells his uncle that there's nothing to do again and leaves. At the Giuliotto, Declan asks Riley if it's tacky to ask guests to pay for parking, but Riley, who's deep in thought, didn't hear her. She is lost in thought. When Riley snaps back to reality, she asks her why their grandfather and her mother are working instead of her. They resumed ownership till they decide what is best for the restaurant. But Declan advises her that she needs to stand up to them and defend her ideas, but Riley has started doubting herself, and she walks away. At the house, Shane has packed his stuff and is about to leave. His mom tries to talk to him, but he instead apologizes to them and tells them that he's better off investing in other people's businesses than running his own. He takes his things out one by one. Meanwhile, Bradley invites Shane's parents to come to his wedding. They accept his invitation and he tells them that he also wants Shane and Riley to come together. He tells them that he knows about the feud, but Shane has been happy since he started working with Riley. She brings out the best in Shane and they need to do some new things to beat Pizza Den. Shane comes in and asks what's going on. His parents tell him that when they got engaged, his grandparents thought they were rushing things and they didn't approve of his mother, who was a fan of the Parkers, the arch rivals of the Chicago Bears. Shane asks how she got them to like her. She says that she told them that his father brought out the best in her and they have adored her since then. She asks Shane if Riley brings out the best in him, but he tells her that it doesn't matter because he almost put her dreams in jeopardy, and he needs to leave for her to reach her full potential. His parents realize that he likes Riley and asks Bradley for a way to stop him from leaving. Bradley calls Declan and informs her that Shane is leaving. He tells her to inform Riley of Shane's departure. At Giuliotto, Jeannie and Riley are disappointed to return to their old menu and methods. Declan runs in and tells Riley that Shane is leaving. Riley is not happy to hear the news, so Declan tells her to stop him, but she says that he can make his own decisions. Declan tells her to face the fact that Shane had changed her for the better and it won't be a good idea to lose him. But Riley feels guilty that she let him take the blame and doesn't think he'll forgive her. Declan tells her that she has nothing to lose and should just apologize. But to Riley, all she has to lose is a business opportunity. And so she goes to their grandfather. She confesses that she went to meet Shane to ask for help and another time to ask that they merge businesses. She reveals to her mother that Shane had lied to protect her. She lets them know that they can't beat Pizza Den by doing things the same way, but her grandfather did not believe that. He, however, tells her that her great-grandfather and Shane's great-grandfather moved to Evanstown to open a pizza joint together. They had argued about the menu and decoration and decided to split and compete against each other. He was friends with Shane's grandfather before their fathers fought and the family feud began. Riley lets them know that Shane is smart and supportive and he makes work become a feeling to her. Her grandfather asks if she's confident in her plan and she tells him that she is. Then, they agree to go with her plan. At the Romanos, Shane is eating with his family and Bradley before he goes. His father tells him not to go because it's obvious that Shane likes Riley. His mother tells him that they won't be able to handle knowing that they're the reason he missed his true love. Shane tells them that her family doesn't support the idea of them dating, but Bradley tells him that they'll come around. Just then, Riley and her family enter the Romanos. Her grandfather comments that he's never stepped foot in the Romanos all his life. Shane asks Riley why she has come. She tells him what her grandfather told her about how a silly fight led to 4 generations of rivalry. She apologizes for letting him take the blame and tells him that he deserves the credit for bringing out the best in her and thinking outside the box. Together, they tell their families about the plan. Riley affirmed that she'll be co-CEO with Shane and everyone's in support of the merger. Her grandfather suggests that they name the business Riley and Shane, but Mr. Romanos, Shane's father, recommends Shane and Riley. Riley asks Shane what he thinks and he replies that he'll have to think it over. He spins Riley around, catches her, and they end up locking their lips in a passionate kiss, while their families clap excitedly. Next scene, business is booming at Riley and Shane. Everyone's busy attending to customers. They are happy at how far they have come and she tells him that it's almost perfect and it could use some balloons. She jokes about the balloons he owes her. Then he takes her outside and there are some balloons tied to a chair. He asks to know if they're good now and his debt is cleared and she tells him that they're perfect. They smile as they kiss. Kindly subscribe and like for more videos. Thank you for watching.